I believe many Cameroonians are asking the question, what is actually happening in Cameroon? The only thing that is happening in Cameroon is that Cameroonians are having enemies living amongst them, enemies controlling them, governing them. And here are the real enemies in Cameroon. That if you want to fight in order to liberate yourself, you have to fight these people that I'm going to name. The politicians, the traditional rulers, the elite, the top government officials, President Paul Biya, the militaries, and the police, these common ones. These are the real enemies in Cameroon. That if we are talking about hardship in Cameroon today, if we are talking about underdevelopment in Cameroon today, if we are talking about insecurity in Cameroon today, if we are talking about a crisis in Cameroon today, they are behind. They are the one behind the crisis and the insecurity, the Anglophone crisis, the Boko Haram issue in the Far North region, the random killing and kidnapping and all kinds of terrible things happening in our society today. This group of people are behind all these things happening in Cameroon. If the living condition in Cameroon today is terrible, it is because of these people. If this is your first time joining TFA Talking Point, please subscribe to our channel. I am coming up with this point because of the things that have been happening. I've been disappointed throughout these days, where the traditional rulers came out and said they have given that total support to President Paul Biya. I saw businessmen like Dr. Ning came out and said they are giving, he is proposing a progressive CBDM under the leadership of President Paul Biya, and for him just to sit there, for them to say, Grandpa, sit there. Let us run the country. Why should Grandpa be there? That is the question. And I look at it, and then I discover that President Paul Biya all alone cannot do anything. Without the supporter, without those supporting him, President Paul Biya cannot do anything. President Paul Biya is there because of this group of people who are supporting him for their own selfish interests. So I consider them the enemies of Cameroonians. They are behind the Anglophone crisis for their own personal interests. They are behind the insecurity all over Cameroon for their own interest. They are behind the disorders all over Cameroon for their own personal interest. They are behind the tribalism in Cameroon for their own personal interest. They are behind the division in Cameroon for their own personal interest. They are behind the hatred in Cameroon. Because if Cameroonians can consider, this group of people consider that this other group of people are their enemies, it is because of this group of people. The 5% benefiting from the taxpayer money and the national cake. I consider them our enemies, that we are the majority. If we can draw strategy on how to remove these people from governing us, then it will be better. Many people, I saw a video where some journalists in Zimbabwe were talking about Cameroon. I felt ashamed. They cry out that people, international community should help Cameroonians. They cannot speak. They cannot do anything to liberate themselves. That they are dying in silence. I cried. I was ashamed that we Cameroonians, we do not have voice. We cannot stand up. Why? Because of our brothers and sisters that the government brought into the military or into the police. And they are using them against us. If you go out there to stand against President Paul Biya, to stand against the elite, the traditional rulers, the politicians, they will not come out. They will sit in their residences and then send these our brothers and sisters, the police and the military, to brutalize us, to kill us, to arrest us and dump us in prison. Under our own common brothers, the warders and the prison guard. And they will do everything to punish us. They will do everything to show to others that if you try, this is how you are going to end. So who are the enemies? Who are those behind the underdevelopment in Cameroon, if not of this group of people? So I am saying this, that if you have an uncle who is benefiting from the system, if you people can sit and have a family meetings and cut him off from yourself, we are going to liberate ourselves. We should not fight them physically because they will destroy us. But if we can do it individually in our respective families and say it is better for us to suffer for 1 full year without our children having school fees to go or without us having enough food to eat. But we should cut off and remove these people from power by denying them from our own families. That you should forget the very person you hold on to the family, that he is the breadwinner of the family. He is the one benefiting from the system. You people have sent him there to harvest your own portion of the national cake. He is not giving you anything. He is, the main thing he is doing is struggling by opposite women so that you will remain in your position, so that it will be very easy for them to manipulate you. So liberate yourself and say no to that uncle. Say no to that father. Say no to that relatives who is benefiting from the taxpayer money at our own detriment. They are the enemies, and we have to say no to them. If we do not do it, we will not be liberated. Because if President Paul Biya say he is running for the upcoming presidential election this year, October, he will still win. Any CPTN stand, the CPTN militants will win. Person will win. And if the person will win, there is no liberation, because it's already a system that they created for their own benefit. So the only thing is for us to remove them all from power. And it is very easy. Let us deny them in our respective family. Do not say, I don't want to disgrace, because this is one issue with Africa. Whether their relatives is wrong or right, is doing the terrible things that we keep on supporting in the name of, I don't want to disgrace my family. He is no. We should stand for the truth, and the truth will set us free. If everybody was like me, we could have stand up and say all the traditional rulers who went and gave their support in their villages, they come out and say, you are not our traditional ruler from today. We look for somebody to represent, to replace them, and for them to learn a lesson that they were chosen by our ancestors to represent us, not to represent the government. In our villages, we usually contribute to support the palace, but suddenly the government bought them over and now put them on salary, which is not even up to 200,000 francs CFA, and they fall for it. These are the enemies. Fight them wherever you see them, and we will end the suffering in Cameroon.